Hey, what's going on, guys? This is going to be the second part of an unboxing video for the SC10E, but I'm going to do a Caldera comparison. Just want to see if, side by side, we'll take a look at them and see if it's worth, which, and come February 1st, 2018, it's going to be about $110 difference between the two models. So we'll see if it stacks up, if it's worth 110 bucks, or if the Caldera is a better purchase. I will note that the Caldera is about to get a makeover. So this version, I don't know if the body's going to change. I don't know if it's chassis. I mean, I got 8,000 some people in my Facebook group, and Redcat won't tell me anything anymore. Like, I can't get any kind of inside information because they just suspect I'm going to go like spread it throughout my Facebook group, which if they give me the information and told me not to, I wouldn't. But they've given me information and I didn't know I couldn't talk about it. And anyway, here we are. I'm on the outside now, so I'll find out as soon as I do any revisions. I'll have everybody updated on what's going on with the Caldera. All right, well, I'm just going to kind of get into it real quick before I even take them down off their boxes. But the one thing I don't like about the Caldera, which I do like the SC10 a little bit more, but I still don't like the fakeness of the headlights and stuff like that. Although that one is definitely a little bit better. I think, like I said, if I'm going to keep a short course truck, I'm probably going to have like the scalpel body, or maybe like a Proline 1/8, which we'll try fitting on one of these here shortly as well. This look, man, that's not a good look for me. It just doesn't have the same look, and we'll get at that. We'll pull them down, we'll look at the back of them and all, but it's kind of like the biggest turnoff I've had about the Caldera. So I'm hoping that the new revision for this truck is actually going to change up this body style a little bit, which I imagine it would, because they seem to have gone with this kind of style with the blackout already, which this is very similar. I wish I had a blackout. I might even have a blackout short course in stock still. If I do, I might pull that thing out as well for another comparison. But that thing is definitely the same kind of body pattern as that was. But we're here to talk about the Caldera right now. I'm going to get these down real quick and we'll get them, get the covers off of them. We'll see some of the real differences. Alright, so the first things you can really kind of see is that the Caldera has bigger tires. They're about 4.5-inch tall tires. These are just under 3-inch, like just under 4-inch, like a 3.9. I think that's total height. It's like 100 millimeters compared to like 116 millimeters. So the ride height on the Caldera is higher. Alright, so it's about lined up there, roughly. Here, let's just push them, actually. Push them back here. So they look about the same length, but this one's actually coming in that it's actually longer than this one. But I have a feeling that's to do with the bumpers, just because I remember the style of this one. So I'll go over that in a second. But that's basically what you're looking at there. This one's also wider. Lined up here. And you can see, I mean, we're looking maybe about a 1/2 inch to 1 inch wider. Could be the tires, could be a lot, because his tires are a little bit bigger as well, but they look to be about the same width. But alright, let's crack these things off. The body still feels good. Nothing wrong with the Caldera quality body on this one as far as thickness. Just not a fan. I don't know, man. Like, I get it, but I'm just not a fan of that look. I'm not really a fan of a lot of the short course looks, to be honest with you. That's why the one I'm picking is going to be a little bit different. But let's see. Again, I showed this in the unboxing video, but they feel about the same. There's really no difference there other than size. Like, Let's see. Alright, so that is, yeah, you would do a whole lot of trimming, but you could definitely get this body to work. But again, trimming is a must. Caldera doesn't fit very many bodies, which I'm not a very big fan of. I like options, and I want name brand options. So we're going to find out if this truck holds up. It kind of looked like in the unboxing. It does look like that Proline body is going to fit, but we'll get one cut out, take a look at it on here, take a look at this one, and you get a chance to see if the stock bodies and how they fit. Because I already know they don't fit this one that well, and you can kind of tell if it fits this one and doesn't fit this one that well. You can already kind of tell because it's not fitting this right now, even. So it gives me hope for this one, because all the ones I did looked too big for the Caldera, and here we are looking too big. So I got high hopes now. So we'll find out here in a little bit. So let me get this back off. Alright, so what I was getting at with the wheelbase difference, where they're getting that at, I mean, the trucks lengthwise are very, very close. Axle to axle. Not far off at all. But the difference is, they got this really nice, like, traditional style short course rear bumper setup, whereas this one is just kind of a, this is actually the regular Caldera bumper. And even if you get this, which they have for the fronts, it's just impact for that. I mean, this is not a true short course. This is a monster truck that they have basically made into the short course because they didn't have anything to offer you. Well, now they kind of do. So one of the things also, I was playing around with it when I first took it out. I mean, it's got some lean. I don't know if you can see the twists on the wheels or not. The same amount of lean. Stiff. This is so much smoother. It just has like a I don't know, man. It just has a smoother feeling to me. I don't know if it's the shocks. Again, this feels, and again, me messing with the Caldera for a very long time, and the Earthquake, this feels more like a monster truck suspension. This is feeling more like a short course suspension would. And again, I'm not a short course guy, but that's definitely feels smooth compared to just when I rock it back and forth. Like if it was out on the track, it would just be kind of gliding, and this one doesn't, not at all. It's more of a, it's definitely stiffer. So I mean, that's all I got to go at with that. But so definitely a difference there. ESC 80 amp. This is a 60 amp, maybe 50. I think it's 60 now. I think they're all 60. Yeah, it's a 60 amp compared to an 80 amp. So you're already bigger on the SC. This is 3S capable, 2S capable. Although if you do change that ESC out, this motor will take 3S. You know, I've tested it again, especially on the short course. I mean, I've tested even on the Caldera with a little bit bigger, thicker wheels, and again, not much else different. I mean, it's pretty much the Caldera. You can reinforce this and do what I did with my son's Caldera in that, same way. You can put bigger tires on this. Fusion body probably might fit this. I mean, again, just looking at the length, I mean, I don't understand why, other than these tires being bigger, if I put these tires on there, that body might fit a little bit better. Just because of the wheelbase. I'm just looking at that alone. Again, a little bit more time with it, and I'll have some of that answered. We'll figure that out. We'll swap tires and have fun playing with all that stuff. So, all right. So again, a couple of key differences. We'll start with the fronts, the bumpers. These are independent, traditional style bumpers that come out and they're supportive. This is the truck version with a bumper support on it. It will take an impact, but it is not. I mean, that is just kind of flexible. This is the whole actual bumper. It's going to take much more of an impact. It's going to protect your front end a little bit better for sure. The shocks, again, these are bigger, but these are too big, I think. This is more what it should have. Thinner, softer shocks, just so it has a little bit more play. Not these big, thick springs. And, the big bore shocks, considering it's a 1/10. So again, that's a plus. Again, even though they're going smaller, these are aluminum capped shocks, so, and these are plastic, so that's a plus. I know we have aluminum hinge pins and things like that, and I consider that a plus. This is still aluminum on this side, but I think it's plastic on the back side, whereas this is aluminum on both. So, you know, this is a machine aluminum, it's not the finished aluminum. That's the only difference. Strength-wise, you probably won't notice a difference. The battery options, I love the battery option comparison. This sucks. It's horrible. It's really hard to do anything else other than a 3S Slim. I've ran 4S. I got guys that, you know, like to run 3S fat packs or 4S just to play around and make this thing like a street car and things like that. And can't do it because you really don't have any room unless you're stacking batteries. And you know, I've been there, done that, and it's just, yeah, it's very limiting. Okay, we're just going to go with that. It's limiting. Where, you know, right here, this part of the chassis, I've chiseled this out to put bigger motors in. It's a 3652, 3660. First thing, this will take a 3660 right up to here. So I've put 74s and stuff in, which you have to chisel out here. I put 68s in. And this has to be smoothed out. It's real thick plastic. Uses up like 1/2 of your Dremel sanding bits. But it will go down. So you got to do a lot of work to make that fit, you know what I mean, play around with it. Whereas this, and again, motor mount, having to do this, what I was talking about in my unboxing video, this is 4 screws to take this off, flip it over, and have the whole motor mount in your hand, everything. The drive cups will just fall out. You can kind of just gently put that back in place, hold it, put the screws back in, and you're back on. Because this is a floating, it looks like it's a floating center. I don't see any screws on the bottom. It's only the 4 screws that hold this on. So it all just overhangs there, which is awesome, because if you had to change the motor on this, just like you would if like a Volcano and even the Blackout, horrible. I mean, it's just, you have to like literally get in here, you have to remove this, or you have to take your motor mount off. Well, taking the motor mount off of this one consists of these screws here, this off, all 4 of those, this, all of this above the steering assembly. Take all of that off. Then you take off this one, this one, this one, this one, this one, this one, and that one. Or you take off these 4. So the fact that this needs this upper chassis brace to support it, and this is using the leverage here down to the chassis, kind of like the HSP trucks do, this is a far better open design, and that's why you were able to get something like that, which is a huge benefit. So we can go, I mean, you could go big if you want to go in here, man. You could turn this into what people do with the slashes and things and try to turn them into the road cars and street cars, because it does have the room right there to go as big as you want almost in the motor. And you know, again, steel mod 1 gears. I'm sure there's going to be a steel upgrade for the pinion, and I'm sure there's going to be, this is Team Redcat, so I imagine if they're going to throw the name on it, that they're going to have the upgrades come out for this thing. Aluminum shock towers. These shock towers aren't bad. I wouldn't upgrade something like that on this truck unless you break it. Same thing with the arm. If I wreck it and I'm breaking an arm, I'm going to upgrade it. I'm not going to go aluminize this one and just make it, you know, full like I do with all my other stuff, because then you drive it differently, and even though you don't want to, you still do. And I'm not going to do that. I'm going to leave it completely stock for a little bit, throw a 3S on it, might play around with a pinion, and you know, just have some fun with it. Again, not having that chassis support on there is a nice touch too. I do love those braces. I like them on my Avalanche. I like them on the Berserker. You know, so much easier to work on just when you remove that right there. I mean, that was that Earthquake, all of them, man. This is why I loved my Avalanche more than I loved my Earthquake. Is it was so much easier to access, and that not having that right there, giving access quickly to the center or the drive shafts, the cups and things, was just so much nicer. And you can do that with an aluminum chassis, and those braces, you can't really do that with a plastic one. It's just got too much flex. So I get it. Price point's lower, but again, we're only talking $110 here come February. So it's not that much, you know, for what we're looking at difference wise. The turnbuckle upper links upper links here. No adjustment in the rear. No adjustment in the rear for the toe. You definitely have a wider 1/8 like earthquake style, which is a small 1/8, but it's still 1/8 size arm compared to these, which I think we already took the measurements on them, but it's probably about a millimeter thicker on those. Drive shafts are also probably half a millimeter? About 3/4 millimeter thicker. This is upgradable to 17 millimeter. I'm sure with all the Team Redcat MT10E upgrades that they have options, I'm sure they'll give you a 17 millimeter option on this as well. So I'm not faulting them on that yet. So it's still 12 millimeter right now, which is plenty of options from short course JC Concept. Pro Line JC Concepts. Plenty of short course options out there for you as far as tires go. And now bodies. I got confidence now that the bodies are good on this. And again, leave that up to the modifications that you'd have to do to make it fit. But throw some smaller tires on, and we're looking at a closer comparison there again with that body fitting. So you're probably not cutting out as much with a smaller, short tire like this. Differentials on this oil filled, whereas these are not. You just got regular, probably the crappy grease that you should upgrade. Again, these give you a chance. The oil I'm sure that's in them is probably a good balanced short course oil. You probably don't have to mess with it. I'm sure they took care in consideration to that. So it's a nice touch, not having to open it up right away for the guys that like to do that stuff. Not everybody does. It does have the rubber seal bearings, whereas these are just the ball bearings. Again, huge benefit there for some people having the, especially out in the track and things like that, where you're getting dirt and all kinds of stuff kicked up. So to me, the body post much nicer, much wider. It's going to give you much more support on the body. Where let's go. It does have the rubber seal bearings, whereas these are just the ball bearings. Again, huge benefit there for some people having the, especially out in the track and things like that, where you're getting dirt and all kinds of stuff kicked up. So to me, the body post much nicer, much wider. It's going to give you much more support on the body. Where let's go. I can break out the caliper tool, but right there is my finger to finger, and let's get on the body post there. So now it's these two fingers, the middle finger and this one. So it's almost a whole it's a whole finger away, but shit, being lazy, guys. I got my hands full. That's the problem. All right, we got 102.24 of coverage there. Plus, again, these style of body posts are so much better for short course bodies because it gives you that flex and that movability that bottoming out on this isn't going to give you. So 102 to about 71. That's a big difference. So that's going to cover you a lot more. Definitely going to protect your body a lot more. All right, a couple other key features. Waterproof ESC box. Short course, you're going to have it out in the water too much. It'd be kind of muddy track. I guess people do. I don't know. But it's good to have it. So either way, if you do or don't, you may not need it. It's there. This one, it's not waterproof. It does look like it's sealed in there pretty good. This is the new Caldera one. They never used to have this on here. So the receiver was kind of exposed. So you're pretty much splash proof at best. And again, just the ESC differences, the motor differences, size, power, KV, 2S versus 3S, real bumpers versus fake bumpers. The tires, again, feel better. These are definitely harder compound, feel more, not as tacky. It's a stiffer foam, a little harder compound, softer foam, and also a tackier compound. So it just seems like it's ready to go on a track more than the Caldera is. It's like the Caldera was, hey, we don't have a short course really, So we're going to kind of throw it in. And it's kind of like the same thing with the Blackout. Basically, Blackout, you're just dressing up with a wider body and calling it a short course. But it's a Blackout. It's the same thing. You know, you threw smaller tires on it. It's almost impossible to find. That's why I'm not doing a Blackout comparison right now as a three-way, because I've already determined, in my personal opinion, and a lot of people I've dealt with, that the Caldera is a better short course in general. It's a better truck in general. And since we're talking, they were both trucks and not, you know, short course, you got to go with the better vehicle, and that's the Caldera. So, you know, in my opinion, and a lot of people's. So that's why we're here with this one and not all three of them. But again, these are monster trucks that are being turned into short course just because they're filling a gap. They're filling a gap for Redcat's lineup. Well, Redcat now has a true short course, to say the least. So at the minimum, that's what they have here. Added to their lineup. The Aftershock, same thing. It was a 1/8 version, basically, of the Earthquake. Nothing changed. It was the same shock, same thing. And all of these vehicles come from the same factory. All three of those did. Blackout, Caldera, all of them. So BSD just is not making good short course trucks. So now they went over to, you know, I'm not going to jump to names and assume, but I'm pretty sure that this is a truck that's called Hungnor, and it's the Nex 10SC, NEXX 10SC. And if you look at it, you know, I'll do a side by side real quick, you can see it. So if you saw a little bit, you could tell the battery tray kind of stood up almost like this one did on that one, whereas this lays down. So it was more like a modern version of this. But the chassis layout looked the same. You know, you can go back and look at it. The bumpers look the same in the front, the rear, back, all that from the top view like that looked identical from here back. It was just a couple things different, like a more modernized version of the layout. So maybe I just didn't find the right one or whatever, but that's what it looks like it's from, which is a good brand. I mean, a lot of from what I've read, I've seen some good reviews. I didn't really see anything bad or negative about them, but it's really hard to find something on them. You know, it's just, and especially in English. But, you know, so it's got a little bit of hope if that's what it is. It definitely looks like it is what it is. But I'll dig more into that as I get it and see if I can't find some better pictures when I get some more time. And maybe some more information as well. But I mean, that's the question, man. Is this truck worth $110 more? Ready to run unit, lower electronics, monster truck. It's not a short course. If you want an inexpensive vehicle and you're trying to stay, you know, sub 250, which, you know, I'll be able to work with you guys. But 250 is the price that these are selling at. So with bundles and things like that, if you need a better battery charger, you know, I'll have things. And anytime that Redcat will have an offer that allows us to go any lower, I'll be the first one to jump on it as well and offer that price, so or lower price. But either way, this is not a short course. This is a short course. So if I'm asking, if you're just taking my money right off of, you know, with the web prices and no bundles, just straight up, $110 difference come February 1st. I'm spending 110 on this one for sure. Just because if I want a short course, if I'm trying to save money, and, you know, like, oh man, you know, I just want something to get there and bash. You don't really have an RC yet. You know, you're not feeling a need of a collection of, or you don't want to go out and race in a track. You just want to have something that looks cool that you can throw a body on. It might be this, but we're going to see if the bodies, how they fit and things like that as well between the two different manufacturers. And we're going to see how these bodies fit these two as well, and see if even that's even an option, because right now the Caldera is not a very attractive truck. We'll see what the revision holds, but this one's already more attractive of the two, and it's already a better looking truck, better short course vehicle. But my money's for this for $110, but let's crack out a Proline body and see what we're looking at. Alright, so here is the Silverado short course from Proline. Now, I've cut this out identical. I didn't shave it anywhere else. This is exactly how they tell you to cut it out, with the exception of the back, of course. I did remove a lot from the rear, but that's because even when I was like in my unboxing video looking at it, this was basically a fake, what they're showing you here, this rear bumper. So it was just a, like a see-through version of it or whatever. I guess they wanted you to paint up or do up, but this one actually has that bumper, so it doesn't have to have a fake rear. So I cut that out to make it fit the best, which meant taking it, back to here on both sides and letting it rest, which it'll look really good once it's done. And this is actually setting down more, and when that's actually coming right up on top of it, so that's about to look really good. And the tire wheel wells, everything's good there. Man, this could, oops, it slid forward on me a little bit. So there's my tire wheel wells in the back. So if you needed to flare out here, you got plenty of room. If you did want to flare it out some, I mean, right now the way that sits in the rear, you could even go 2.8 in the rear if you wanted. It looks, if with just a little minor trimming here, but whether you would want to or not, same thing with the front, because these body posts raise up. I haven't raised the body post up on these yet, but they do raise up a little bit. They're little stubby things, but they do have a little bit of, I think at least 1 or 2 movements, just based on what I saw. And I probably will move it up, because the way I have it positioned and the way it looks good is that it's right up with this bumper. Instead of, dremeling this out or anything, I don't want to try to force it around it. I'm just going to bring the post up a little bit. But that's probably all I'd want to do anyway, because you want to make sure when you're turning, don't go down too low. But there's the body. I mean, that's a 1/8 Proline Silverado body. I'm hoping my scalpel body fits from JC Concept the way that this does. I'll be very happy if it does. And check out the back, because I kind of do like this exposed, so I'll have to see how the scalpel is. I think the scalpel covers it, but the way that thing is, man, I think I could live with it. But alright, so that's that. Looks awesome. In my opinion, it's perfect. I've already laid it out, getting ready to move it up, and this one's going to be done shortly. I had to stop the video, and all I want to do is check it out. So I want to cut it. Next thing you know, I'm positioning it. I was getting ready to drill it, but my drill's upstairs in my kids' room, and they're sleeping. It's like, I don't know, like 4 o'clock in the morning, something like that. So, anyway. Alright, so here is the Caldera. I'm not going to say it's not going to fit. I mean, I got to really work to position it. So, it'll fit. Kind of. So, you're behind the bumper there, which will be a good thing once you drop it down. You're going to basically probably flare this out almost down to the door panel here, just to be safe. I mean, you could probably go right here and leave just a lip. Here, you probably just come up a little bit there. Probably take this up right to the crease, over, and then kind of about where it is here, and you'll be alright. And then if you got one of these addition pieces and mounted it to the rear the same way it is in the front, it would actually bring it out the rear a little bit more. And then you would also have the rear of this particular truck would have that fake look, which is why you would keep this on here. But then you would have the bumper support back there a little bit to give you a little bit of bump. So it would fit. I mean, you just got to modify it. The body posts connect here versus here. And you can see that width I was telling you about. That's where it would hook up on this truck. And here's where it would hook up at on the other truck. So it's going to get so much more of that body taking the stress off the flares when it does roll, giving it more of a contour roll. So, alright guys, well, I mean, that's all I want to show you. For the money, let's go with the short course SC10E. I will have a slash. I'm going to bring a slash in to do a comparison with this as well. So I'm looking forward to that. Again, I'm not preemptively talking bad about a slash at all. I'm not even going to put it up and make that conversation yet. But just like I've seen with a lot of the other stuff, the Traxxas stuff just doesn't hold up as well when you start putting other stuff next to it. And I already know that I'm better here in a lot of spots than I already am with the slash. But I haven't personally owned a slash. So I want to bring it in and take a look at it stock, see if it's got the same. I know it's got the same CVDs and stuff, but whether those upgrades and Team Redcat comes out with some better upgrades for these, that's something I want to know about. But we'll talk about stock for stock, and then maybe we'll readdress it later on in another video once I see what upgrades are out for this, and then we can start comparing what's up with the Slash for upgrades, because you can take the Slash pretty far. Paying a lot of money for that same chassis just to take it and start putting all the aluminum upgrades or convert it to a monster truck. But why am I going to buy a Slash and convert it to a monster truck? Other than already owning one and having that ability, I get that. But like, you're not thinking that way when you go to buy it, because you're buying it for what it is. You just get bored with it, or you buy it from somebody else and want to change it up. That's why you do something like that. But so again, you're not really thinking about it as a short course. And for what it offers for you, the upgrades and things like that they make for it are pretty decent, but you start getting to spend a lot more money. So we'll compare prices, all kinds of stuff, with them side by side. I'll probably bring in the best one. I mean, I'm not going to bring in their base model. I'll bring in their best model, and we'll compare them price for price, electronics, and we'll go over all that stuff. So, all right, guys, thank you for watching. If you have any questions, hit me up, leave me a comment. Thanks.